the time, I didn't know he was Dr. Alex Cohen. I thought he was just Alex Cohen, the dad from the other team in Little League, who was a really nice, friendly guy. His kids were good ball players, and he was blind. So I was like, I'm going to reach out to that guy, Alex. He could be the blind guy on my committee. So I reached out to Alex, and I didn't know too much about him. I knew he was a nice guy. We live relatively near each other. So I was like, all right, I'll reach out to Alex. So he and I met up for a cup of coffee. This is like 3 years ago. And I told him what I was looking to do, and I got to hear his story. Alex lost his eyesight in his late teens. He was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa when he was 17. By the time he graduated college, he had lost almost all of his usable eyesight. He wanted to be a hotel general manager, and came to terms with the fact that there aren't too many opportunities for blind hotel managers. So he went back to school, and he ultimately earned a PhD in marketing with a specific focus on retail accessibility for the blind community. And he wrote his doctoral dissertation on the accessibility of the top 100 retailers in America for blind individuals. And so here I am, I was like, oh my gosh, little did I know that Alex is arguably the foremost expert in retail accessibility in the country, as a blind consumer and a blind academic. And so he and I dug deeper into his research, and one of the industry verticals that we identified as being the most challenging and the least accessible was the pharmacy industry. The way traditional pharmacies like to work with patients and support patients is very different than the way blind individuals like to be supported and like to communicate with their pharmacy. Most of the big chains, and they're great companies, but they really focus on a one-size-fits-all model, not a personalized medication situation where they really try to understand how to best support an individual so they can manage their diabetes, manage their medication in a stress-free way, in a way that empowers the individual to live more independently and manage their medication independently. And so, this was pre-pandemic. We were like, I wonder if anything out there exists like this. I wonder if people would be into something like this. So we spent a day at the NFB headquarters in Baltimore to really get feedback from some people there. We got a great deal of support from people like Kirk Adams at the AFB. Alex did a great deal of work with the FFB. We got a great deal of support from them, from different ACB, state, local, and national groups. We held focus groups with blind individuals throughout Philadelphia just to get some feedback about, some of the challenges that may exist and what kind of things we could be doing to support those individuals. And we wrote a perfect business plan. At least we thought it was a perfect business plan. But obviously at the end of the day, we can't just start shipping medication. So we spent the next year trying to find a pharmacy partner who could help us realize this opportunity. And we met with a multitude of groups and individuals, and we ultimately settled on our third business partner. Dr. Jason Barrett has his doctorate in pharmacy, and he spent his whole career, like 30 years so far, focusing on personalized medication management. And his core competency up until he met us was really focusing on people with intellectual disabilities and cognitive disabilities. And so when we met with him, he was like, I got this. I love this stuff. My entire model is based upon really breaking down an individual's challenges and figuring out how to help them solve those challenges. And he said, well, it wasn't his core focus. He had a great deal of blind patients already, and he was able to share some of those experiences. And so we decided to launch our business, and we officially launched in April 2020. Right at the beginning of the pandemic, and, fast forward to today, obviously we didn't know what was going to transpire with the pandemic, but we plowed through it. And fast forward to today, we now have 65 employees, 25% of which are blind or low vision themselves. We are currently licensed to distribute controlled substances and prescription medication in 31 states, including DC and Puerto Rico. And our hope is by the end of this year, we will have a national presence. In Texas, we were preliminarily approved. We are waiting for We have to get the state requires one of our pharmacists, just one of our pharmacists, to be licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. So our pharmacist is actually taking his exam the first week in November. And while we're currently working with individuals in Texas with around things like vitamins and supplements and over-the-counter medication and small medical devices, our hope is that, when we're in full stride in the next month or two, we'll be able to provide prescription medication, controlled substances, and a full range of diabetic supplies as well. But I'll break that down in a few minutes as well. So that's who we are. So what do? We provide prescription medication, over-the-counter medication, vitamins and supplements, guide dog and pet medication, eye drops, a full range of diabetic supplies and monitoring systems and insulin, and small medical devices as well. We have 3 different pillars of our company that we embrace and focus on. And by the way, everything we do is free. There's free delivery, free packaging, free labeling, free support, free education. We make our money by being reimbursed by insurance companies. Things that aren't reimbursed by insurance companies, we're pretty inexpensively priced. We're at the lower end of the spectrum. We also work with our patients to try to get reimbursed for things that traditionally insurance companies have not been reimbursing for. Copays usually stay the same. It's the insurance company that dictates the copay, not the pharmacy. So whatever the insurance company tells us to do, that's what we do. That being said, our first pillar is accessible support. We try to meet our patients where they want to be met, not where we want them to meet us. So you're all more than welcome to come visit us in Philly, but you never have to come to Philly. The most common way that we interact with patients is on the telephone. And we encourage the phone to be the first interaction because we have a lot to learn about an individual. It's not just tell your doctor to send us a prescription and we ship it to you. We can do that, but we need to learn a few things about an individual. We need to learn, what is your level of sight? What is your comfort level with technology? Do you read Braille? What's your proficiency with Braille? Who else is in the household with you? Do you have caregivers? Do you have children? Do you have parents? Are you married? Do you live in a group home? What is your insurance? Because if we don't, but we accept all insurance, most insurance. If we don't work with your specific policy, we will reach out to them and put that in motion to get that set up. In many cases, we often reach out to doctors and therapists to get their feedback as well. So we have to have that conversation, and that conversation happens more often than not on the telephone, but it also happens, and this is a segue to you, Sara, through Be My Eyes. We were the first healthcare company and retail business to partner with Be My Eyes, and we're listed in their health specialized help section. They're starting to add more as well. We're excited because there's other retail groups that are joining too, and in the spirit of making sure that the entire marketplace is accessible, we wish them all good luck. We also work with a great deal of deaf-blind patients as well, and we're very comfortable working with them via text and via email. And we're actually about to launch an initiative with the Helen Keller National Center to figure out ways to better support our deaf-blind patients as well. So, we're hoping that by 2022, we'll be in full stride there as well. So that's our first pillar, accessible support and education. We also use Be My Eyes. We use Be My Eyes for a few things. One is to bring patients on board. Other things include just pill identification. Someone drops a pill and they want to hold it up and say, what is this pill? Understanding drug interactions, which is usually about like temporary remedies. Well, they'll contact us and say, I'm taking Tylenol right now. The meds I'm taking. Is there any concern or any potential negative interaction I should be aware of? We train people on how to use small, accessible medical devices. So for example, we can ship an individual a talking thermometer, and then we can train them using Be My Eyes on how to use that thermometer. For a while, we were doing home COVID testing with Be My Eyes for blind individuals. We would send a home test kit and use Be My Eyes to walk the patient through executing the test and understanding the results. We haven't had we haven't had a call in 2 months about that, because now testing is much more available. But so that's our accessible support. Our second pillar is accessible packaging. We have 10 different kinds of accessible packaging. They're all free. And it's really just, we encourage our patients to try different packaging every month until they find something that really helps them manage their medication more easily. So for example, we have different size and shape, pre-sorted, disposable pill organizers. So in these organizers, we can put your prescription meds, your over-the-counter meds, your vitamins, and your supplements. And so you don't have to get your meds in bottles and then sort it in your own organizer. We have different size and shape organizers depending on the quantity of pills, the number of times a day you take your medication, and just makes that whole process. It removes the margin of error, the risk of errors of sorting things incorrectly. It takes that time off your hands. And what we do is we'll ship you any of our medication, before the current batch expires. So there's never any delay or discontinuation of medication. So the pre-sorted disposable pill organizers. We also have what we call daily pill packets, we have the exact same machine that Amazon has for its pill pack. And it's essentially, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's basically like a 3-inch by 3-inch little plastic baggie. And in the baggie is all of your meds for that day of the week or that time of the day. And it comes in a perforated strip. You just tear off the baggie and take your meds. And it comes in a disposable dispenser. I actually use that myself, and my kids and my wife use it. We found that that's the best for us to organize our stuff. We also have different size and shape bottles that we find for people with mobility issues or dexterity issues, whether it's Parkinson's or arthritis. We can ship medication in an oversized bottle with like old school pop-off lids, in addition to smaller bottles with childproof lids. So it's really about understanding the preference of the patient. Finally, we're launching in the next week or two an initiative to pre-package children's medication in liquid doses, single doses. So for blind parents, to be able to safely administer medication to infants in particular. We're coming out of the gate, we've got about 5 over-the-counter remedies. We have children's acetaminophen, children's Tylenol, children's ibuprofen. We have a stomach remedy, an antihistamine, and a cough suppressant. So, and we're looking to expand that. The first version of it's just going to be some over-the-counter remedies, and we're going to build upon that, and hopefully we're in full stride with that, to be able to offer a full range of prescription medications as well. And while we're launching that, focusing on helping blind parents with children, but it ultimately can be expanded to help blind individuals administer medication to anyone who they're taking care of, whether it's spouses or parents. So that's our packaging. And our third and final pillar is accessible labeling. On all of our packages, we're able to put labeling that can help an individual understand what's in the package. So for example, we can do traditional, medication labels. We can do it in large fonts to the extent that we can make it as large as the bottle or package will accommodate, in the event that someone has low vision. We can package any of our packaging in either grade 1 or contracted Braille, depending on someone's Braille proficiency. By the way, we can do the labels in both Spanish and in English. We also work very closely with a company called Envision America. And Envision America invented something. They actually used some really old technology called RFID tags. And to oversimplify it, it's a sticker with a small microchip embedded in it. And we're able to program the microchip with all of the prescription information. And using either an app or a small free device that we can send you, it's about the size of a clock radio. You can simply take any of the packaging that has this Script Talk sticker on it, stick it next to your phone with the app, or stick it next to the device, and it reads the prescription information out loud to the individual. And so these are all different things that we do to help an individual understand what's in the package. And once again, all these things are free. And simultaneously, we look at, Be My Eyes as like a safety mechanism, in that if any of these things are confusing, like someone can always engage us through Be My Eyes, and we'll sit with the patient and walk them through exactly what's in front of them. Other things that we are doing, we're on December 3rd. Sarah mentioned this earlier, and Stacy mentioned this. We are running and we'll share the information as well. We're running hopefully the first of many. It's a blindness and diabetes webinar. It's going to be a 4-hour event. And we've brought together some incredible specialists that have knowledge of both blindness and diabetes to talk about a few things. So for example, we have a physician who's a retina specialist from the University of Pittsburgh's Medical Center, who's going to be speaking about diabetic retinopathy. We have the executive director of the University of Pennsylvania's Diabetes Education Center, speaking about nutrition. The head diabetes educator from the Department of Health from the state of Virginia is going to be speaking about, she actually educates like all the different O&M specialists, low vision therapists, and healthcare providers throughout the whole state on tips to support blind individuals throughout the state who are diabetic. So she's going to talk about some of her tips and strategies that she uses to train people. Oh, by the way, the woman from the executive director of the Diabetes Center at University of Pennsylvania, her mother's blind as well. So she has a whole added layer of understanding about the solutions that she's going to speak about. She's going to focus on nutrition, about her mother's own experience and growing up in a blind household. Our chief medical officer is going to be speaking about accessible devices, the continuous glucose monitoring systems like Dexcom and the Libre, some of the Prodigy talking glucometers, as well as insulin, trends in diabetes, self-management, and some of the medication that is used by diabetics. And finally, we met a really cool woman at the NFB National Conference a few months ago. She's blind. She's getting her master's degree at UC Berkeley in blindness and diabetes. And she's going to be speaking about insurance and policy around diabetes and blindness. So we're really excited for that. And our hope is that to build upon that and expand that. And it's free. We also are running 2 other programs in the early spring. We don't have dates yet, but one is about blindness and breast cancer for blind women and their families, to learn about the nuances of breast cancer, about self-diagnosis, the vocabulary around breast cancer, genetic predispositions, treatment and surgical options, recovery options. And we're going to be doing a program with the state of Pennsylvania's Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, specifically focusing on blind parents and supporting blind parents to help their children with like basic healthcare needs in the household. Obviously we'll speak about the medication component, but we have a bunch of other panelists who we're including in that to talk about a full range of topics focusing on blind parents and their children's healthcare. I'm trying to think what other things that we're working on. We had our first college internship program this past summer. We ran it with a group out of New York City called Visions. They received a grant, and we had our first blind student intern this past summer. His name is Mohammed. He is a sophomore at SUNY Binghamton in upstate New York. And Mohammed blew us away. Like it exceeded our expectations about all the different things that he did, for us and with us. And he's still actually working for us part-time this school year. One of the things that he did that we're looking to really build upon was we gave him a list of 100 patients. And his job was he did a bunch of things, but this was one of the tasks that he had over the summer, was to reach out to 100 patients and ask them, what do you like about accessible pharmacy? What don't you like about accessible pharmacy? What things could we be doing to improve? And also, as importantly, like what other types of services could we be providing? And it was interesting because of his research. We actually are expanding our guide dog and pet medication programs. And he was the one that actually bumped into, like almost unanimously, anyone who was a parent or is a parent of young children asked if we had solutions for, safely administering medication to children. And it was because of that we actually got behind that and embraced it. One other just cool story that I'm excited to share, as I mentioned, we are working with the Helen Keller Foundation, Helen Keller National Center, to build out ways to better support deaf blind patients. We're pretty excited about that, but what's interesting is another one of our students' projects over the summer, and he's continuing this now, is he interviewed just interesting people in the world of blindness. And this week, he actually wrote an interview that, if anyone wants to check out our blog posts, you can check them out. We have a deaf blind patient, and she's diabetic. And for years, she was struggling to manage her sugar levels. And she grew up as an athlete, and she hasn't been able to compete as an athlete for years because of her diabetes. So the punchline of this, which is really cool, is we spent a few months working with her, trying to identify ways to solve her challenges around diabetes. And we ultimately were able to. And she competed 2 months ago in the senior division of the Paralympics, and she won a gold medal. And it was cool. She reached out to us. She's like, I did this because of the help that I got from you guys. And so, long story short, if anyone wants to check out our blog later this week, you can actually read an interview with this woman. But the reason why I'm telling you that story about Mohammed's, the work that he did, was that's how we're learning. We learn from groups like this. We learn from our patients, most importantly. We learn from our staff. We still get a great deal of positive interaction and support from different support groups, national organizations, state organizations, and it's how we grow. Like, every time we bump into a challenge that we don't know, we huddle as a team and we try to solve it. And that's not to say that we're perfect, but we enjoy this stuff. If a blind individual walks into a CVS pharmacy and goes to the counter and says, hey, I've got an idea for how you could be more accessible to blind individuals, the conversation sort of stops there. Whereas with us, we take out our notepads and we jump in head first. So we encourage people to join us. It's the easiest way to interact with us is simply to call. I'll put our phone number in the chat. It's 215-799-9900. That's 215-799-9900. If you have a smartphone, if you have an iPhone, and you ask Siri, call Accessible Pharmacy. Depending on how your settings are adjusted, it may say, do you mean Accessible Pharmacy in Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania? That's us. Obviously, you can go to Be My Eyes and find us through Be My Eyes. Our website is accessiblepharmacy.com, and it's a very screen reader friendly website. And we'd love to work with you. I'm also excited to listen into Mark from Hadley, who's going to be joining us after this. We're massive Hadley fans, and I'll repeat that when he joins as well. We're actually working on some projects with them, and we're hoping to have some pretty robust collaboration with Hadley in 2022. But once again, one final thought. There's no long-term commitment to us. There's no fee to commit to us. We encourage you to try us out for a few months, try different packaging, try different labeling, give us feedback. And in the event, a few months down the road, you decide, you know what, I like my old pharmacy better, just call us. We'll contact that pharmacist. We'll transfer all the files over. We'll bring them up to speed with what's transpired since you left that pharmacy and joined us. We'll reach out to your doctors, give them a heads up. We'll reach out to your insurance company, give them a heads up. And you go back to where you were. One final thought I forgot to mention, we do provide continuous refill management. So on a regular basis, we will make sure you get your next batch of meds before your existing ones expire. In the event that a prescription needs to be renewed, we'll know in advance and we'll reach out to you and try to facilitate a conversation between you and your prescribing physician. And also, at least once a week, we get a call from someone who's like, something like, I'm on vacation in Miami and I forgot my medication. And we'll overnight meds to their hotel, just enough to get them through that vacation until they get back to their home. So we do stuff like this all the time. We're comfortable with it. If anyone ever needs me to take a trip to Miami to deliver the medication, I'm available.
Andy's
But
volunteered.
exactly. But all right, Sarah, I tried to keep that as close as I could to a half hour.
Yeah, you got it.
I'd love to hear conversations. I recognize some of your names, so I'm not sure if, some of you I think may be patients already have worked with us, so I'd love to hear your feedback. But
yeah,
I'd just love to hear some of your thoughts and suggestions and ideas and questions. And thank you again, everyone, for your time.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Andy. Before we take the first question, I just wanted to make sure a quick clarification. Andy, when you stated that one of your pharmacists was getting ready to take the examination, I think you mentioned PA, but he or she is taking it for Texas, and it should be
thank you for clarifying
by the end of the year. So for all of the participants who reside in the Houston or Texas area, as far as the prescription controlled substances medications, that's where the temporary approval, but the formal announcement will come within hopefully a couple of months, right, Andy?
Absolutely. And I promise you'll be the first people I reach out to.
Oh, great. Okay, so let's begin. And I heard we've got some raised hands. So Andy, if you want to start, I imagine from the top and go down. And again, please try to be very, very brief in your questions.
Perfect. Well, by the way, in the event that we hang up or we run out of time and anyone has any questions that they subsequently think of or forgot about, please feel my personal email address is Andy, A-N-D-Y, at accessiblepharmacy.com. So please feel free to reach out to me. If it's a healthcare related question, I'll refer your email to someone who can answer that question better than I can. But that being said, I see Sarah Wappler.
Terrence, did you have something before?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I just wanted to remind people in order to raise your hands, I believe it's *9 on the phone. It's under the More tab if you're using the app, or Option Y on a Mac, or Alt Y on a computer.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Sarah Wappler.
Hi, Andy. What was the email address again?
Oh, sure. My email address is Andy, A-N-D-Y, at accessiblepharmacy.com. And I'll put in the chat, when we hang up, I'll put my phone number, or the pharmacy phone number, my email address, and our website in there as well.
Second question, Andy.
We will send that out in a follow-up email.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, so that everybody can grab it when we send out the link.
Second question, Andy. I live in Canada. Do you ship meds to Canada?
Oh, we do not.
Oh, dear.
No, we do not. But it's interesting you bring that up. I don't say it's like the phone's ringing off the hook. That's an exaggeration. But we routinely get calls. Our first step is to make sure that we have national coverage in the United States. We think we're probably about 6 months away from realizing that. Right after that, we're going to cross the border.
Okay, in 6 months, right?
Yeah, well, it's like I said, right now it's really important for us to get set up with all these states we're going through. It's a pretty daunting process. Some of the states require us obviously to get tested in those states. Some states actually where there's an opioid crisis, we actually have to provide notarized criminal background checks on everyone in our company.
Okay.
Notarized fingerprints of all of our pharmacists. And there's one state that actually requires us to send them a blueprint of our distribution center. They want to make sure we're not a bunch of rogue pharmacists shipping controlled substances into the state. So I'm sharing this with you. It's like, we'll get there. We will be in Canada. We're just not there yet. Hopefully in 2022.
How would I know if it is okay to be shipped here?
You can check our website. If you want to shoot me an email, I'll make a note of it and someone will reach out to you. We do have a list of people in Canada who we plan on contacting, and I'd love to reach out to you and share it with you when we're ready.
Fantastic. Thanks, Andy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, Christy Braille.
Oh, what a shit.
Hey, Christy, you're muted.
Hi, it's Christy Braille. I have two questions.
Hey, Christy.
Hi. The first question is,
Oh, Christy, you just went mute again.
you say you do glucose monitors.
Yes.
Can you tell me what talking glucose monitors that you offer? And
We offer, it's a bit, how about this? We can get on the phone with you and try to figure out which one would be the best fit for you.
okay,
In the blind community, one of our more popular ones is the Prodigy talking glucometer. We're very knowledgeable about. We actually ran an educational program with Prodigy in the spring. So everyone on our staff, ranging from the people who answer the phone to the pharmacists, are knowledgeable. We can even pre-program it in advance before we send it to you, if that would be helpful.
okay. Now does that, the Prodigy, does that use the scanner to the arm? Or does that just use the finger pricker?
No, that uses the finger pricking strips.
Okay,
We are comfortable and knowledgeable with about like the Dexcom or the Libre, like the continuous glucose monitoring systems. I don't know if you've used them or not, or you're familiar with them.
I have the Libre.
Oh, you do? Do you like it?
It doesn't talk. That's the drawback from it.
So I say, yeah, but we support the Libre. But if you want to try some other things, I know Dexcom actually has a 2-week free test program that if your doctor will write a prescription, they'll send you a device and you can test that out as well.
Okay.
But yes, we support all of those.
Okay. And my second question is, you say you deal with insulin. What do you do with the insulin? Do you deal with the insulin pumps or do you deal with the insulin just itself?
All of it. Yeah, A to Z. And we also provide insulin for guide dogs and pets as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you offer the insulin pumps that talk or?
Yes, to be frank with you, I'm not too familiar with all the nuanced insulin pumps. One of the things during our webinar on December 3rd, our chief medical officer, I apologize, is going to be speaking about some of those devices and gadgets. So you're welcome to join us, or if you just want to call on Monday, someone can walk you through. It's interesting. We're not able to ship insulin yet into Texas because it is a controlled substance, and until we get that approval, we can't do it. But we can. I'm pretty sure we can provide the devices. So if you do need help with the device, or any of the gadgets, just call and we'd love to help you with it.
Okay, so you say your phone number is 715-799-2900?
No, close. 215.
Okay.
And Christy,
799-9900.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
and Christy and others, all of this information is going to be in our follow-up email as well.
Okay. Thanks very much.
And Andy, could you
Yes.
touch on your presentation coming up in December on the diabetes?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I know that some people are just joining us right now. So yes, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be the first of hopefully many. Next year, we're hoping to have the second annual one. It's going to be really big and robust. But this year, it's about a 4-hour program. It's on December the 3rd. It's going to be from like 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern time. And the topics that we're going to be discussing range from accessible diabetic devices and gadgets and monitoring systems, insulin, different kinds of diabetic medication. We're going to be speaking about nutrition, diabetic retinopathy in particular, insurance and policy that impact blind diabetics, and just some self-help tips about simple ways to manage your diabetes.
Thank you. I just figured with the questions coming up there that was very appropriate to tie that together here.
All right, thank you. And then, by the way, if someone's busy that day, or if you just register for it, we're going to send everyone recordings of each of the segments after the fact. So if you sign up, you'll automatically get the recordings afterwards.
All right. Thank you, Andy.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Any more raised hands?
Yeah, Edwin Oliver Pardo. But you're muted, Edwin. All right.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Andy, I heard you mention Puerto Rico. What would be the procedure in order to receive your services here on the island?
Oh, easy. Just call. We do have a Spanish-speaking care coordinator from Puerto Rico. If he's not in when you call, we'll schedule a follow-up call. His name is Tomas, and it's business as usual. Just call. Tomas will walk you through it. We'll pull in any specialists that are needed, and we deliver regularly. We have a great deal of patients in Puerto Rico.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Talana, I see your hand is up.
Good morning, Mr. Andy.
Good morning.
I have a quick question. I guess, well, it's not a question, but I guess I can ask Miss Sara, do you all have Miss Christie's information? Because I use that Libre link, and my diabetic doctor has told me that it depends on which one she's using, because my iPhone does talk to me and scans mine where I can hear it. But it depends on which one she's using, the Libre Link 1 or the 2. Now, I know for back the 2, they haven't incorporated the talking on it yet.
Right.
That's why my diabetic doctor still has me on the Libre 1 right now until they get that option for the Libre 2. So it depends on which one she's using, because the Libre 1 works very, very well. I've been using it for over a year. Yes, sir.
Did you ever try the Dexcom one, or you just went right to this one?
No, I've never tried the Dexcom one. I just because my doctor preferred the Libre Link, so I've been with my doctor for 10 years, so she preferred that one. So that's why I use that one. But I just want to tell Miss Christie that it just depends on the one she's using, which one talks and which one doesn't.
All right. Oh, thanks, Talana.
Andy,
You're
this
welcome.
is Stacy with a question.
Hey, Stacy.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you guys have as an option Braille labels for Braille reading customers. Do you have someone that is proofreading the Braille to verify that it's accurate and correct?
Oh, good question. For our grade 1 Braille, it's just a simple embosser. It's at very high level, just able to put like the name of the thing. The software and printer we use for our contracted Braille, it's computer generated. It actually takes the information from our electronic health records and automatically transcribes it. We don't have someone in the office proofreading it, but we've been told we've never had an issue because it's an automated software package. So I guess to answer your question specifically, no, we don't have someone in the office proofreading it, but we haven't had any issues specifically with the contractions on labels.
Okay, thank you.
Do you, out of curiosity, when you buy consumer products that have Braille on it, do you often bump into problems where there are inaccuracies?
You know, the only thing that I admittedly have purchased that's had any Braille on it is Band-Aid. A few years ago, they came out and had labeling on their packages, but I'm totally blind and a Braille reader myself. So if I need to label medications or things, I do that myself.
Okay.
So
yeah, we have 7 Braille readers in our company, but none of them work in the distribution center. They're mostly on the sales side.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well,
so
I think
we send them stuff when we're testing things out. They all tested it out for us, but they don't experience individual prescription packages.
Well, I think this is a phenomenal concept, and I really see tremendous possibilities, especially for people that have difficulty getting transportation and assistance to go run personal errands. So applause to you and your team.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I think we can take one more question and then we'll have to move on.
I was gonna say we have 2, Sara and Christy.
Well,
You want
was
to take both and cut it off?
Yes, okay, let's take, and Sarah and Christy, if you could be brief, then that would be appreciative, thanks.
Yeah, by the way, you're both on mute.
Hi, my name's Christy Braille. I'd just like to say thank you to the lady that reached out to me and told me about the Libra. I have the Libra 1 and I find it works very well. And I will be happy when you guys come to Canada. And I can't wait for your arrival in 6 months.
Oh, right on, right on. Thank you. And Sarah Wappler, your hand is still up. I don't know if it's still up from before or if it's a new question, but you're also on mute. There you go.
Yeah, that was an old question. Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, listen.
So what's the connection between Texas and Canada here?
A lot of our friends from north of the border have been supporting our
organization
seminars
and vice versa. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andy,
yes.
It started with a Facebook connection with a friend, and he presented in Galveston. Stacy and Raul were there. I went down to meet him in Galveston with my family, and he's connected with his group up there with the CCB visionaries, and he gets our distribution out. So we've maintained a connection with a good number of our Canadian friends. We had our Inside Expo this past spring, as well as the American National Anthem. We did like the NHL. We played the Canadian National Anthem as well.
Oh, nice.
Recognizing their participation. So we appreciate them being here today as well.
Very cool.
So, very cool. Yes, sir. Thank you again. I echo what Stacy just said. I think what you're doing is awesome, and I look forward to seeing this grow because I have no doubt it will. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you
I
very
believe
much.
Sarah wanted to chime in on the, I believe that's why she stuck her hand back up, to chime in on the connection, Sarah Wappler.
I'm having difficulties lowering my hand.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. I'll lower it for you.
Okay, great. Well, Andy, again, thank you so very much. And I think you said you're going to try to stay on as long as you can. So we appreciate you.
Yes, I have about another half hour that I have
Okay.
to help my son with some homework. And do laundry.
Great.
That's a glimpse into like my afternoon, homework and laundry.
Your Saturday afternoon. Well, fantastic.
Exactly.
Okay, well, great. Well, I am going to take over this portion of the session to talk about the actual app, but I wanted to see and let you know that I'm going to do a brief demonstration of the app, and then once Mark arrives to our host, if you will just let me know when Mark arrives, then I will be more than happy to wrap up my portion and allow him some time to speak, because the things that Hadley's doing, I feel is very, very important. And then I can probably finish up the last maybe 15 minutes or so that we have left. So hopefully everyone has had an opportunity either to download the app Be My Eyes, which is free on both Android or iOS, or you've already had it and may not have, actually used it other than what we all know it to be. But it is a free app, and most of us have, when we first heard about it, used it strictly for the volunteer services, which when it first was launched, that was the actual purpose. And when I say for the volunteer, they connect volunteers all over the globe. And they basically say that they will take a call if they are available at a specific time to try to answer a question that needs a set of eyes. And many of us have used it to, find dropped items. I use it a lot during the winter and summers to adjust my thermostat. I've used it, to, as a matter of fact, one of my funniest stories is I was trying to coordinate some outfits for a conference that I was going to attend, the accessories, the jewelry, the earrings, and I laid things out on my bed and I made a call to a volunteer, and I happened to get a young man in Brazil who was taking a class, was studying fashion design, and he was awesome. So I got so many compliments when I attended the conference, and I had to give kudos to my Be My Eyes volunteer who said, that looks great with that outfit. So many multiple purposes, but over the years, they have really added so many other services, and that's where I use them religiously, especially for the specialized technical services. So I made the recommendation saying, hey, let's make this aware to as many people as possible. And so that's what led us to decide to do this. So I'm going to take a little bit of a time. I've got my iPhone here, and I'm going to open it up to Be My Eyes. And okay, when you open up the app, once it's downloaded, and it is so simple, when you go to the App Store, usually it's just going to ask you your name, your email address, and a password. That's about it. That's all that requires to get it set up. Once you open up the app, it's very basic and simplistic. It only has 3 tabs, I believe, at the bottom.
Tab bar, selected, get support.
Get support.
Tab. Community.
And then
tab.
there's a community
2 of 3.
tab.
Settings.
And then there's a
tab.
settings tab.
3 of 3.
And essentially the get support is where you will start with a volunteer or the various specialized services. The community tab is awesome. This is where personal stories have been shared by volunteers all over the world of how they have experienced and come in contact with individuals in the visually impaired community and made a significant difference. So I strongly encourage individuals to check out the community page, and then of course the settings. So what I'd like to do is talk about,
selected.
I'm going to go
Get support.
Get support.
Tab. Selected.
And
get support.
I
Tab.
believe I tested the
1 of 3.
volume, everybody can hear. So the other cool thing is, at least I can speak from an iPhone. I can't speak from an Android, but there are Siri shortcuts. So what you can do is just simply set up a Siri shortcut. Instead of saying open, or you swipe to you open up the app and then go to volunteer specialized services with all the swipes, you can just simply say, tell Miss Siri to open up, to call a volunteer, or call Microsoft, or call Accessible Pharmacies, or those sorts of things. So that's a really cool, neat thing with the Siri shortcuts, to avoid having the cumbersome thing of locating the app and opening and swiping till you need to get to it. So the first section is call a volunteer, because that's their fundamental foundation. And the volunteers, is Dr. Modi on the call today? Terrence, do you see her by chance? If so, I'll allow a few minutes for her to talk about the volunteer experience. And these are average everyday individuals. So no one is volunteers. Some of them may not have ever worked or had a friend or family member that has a visual impairment, but they really want to, volunteer to be a help to someone. So it's really a cool experience. It's a win-win for both individuals. So here we have call a volunteer. And all it does is you just click, and let's see. I'm going to see if we get fortunate enough to get a volunteer. And it basically puts a call out.
We are still trying to find the first available volunteer. Connected.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, guess what? This is your lucky day. I am doing a brief presentation of how to use Be My Eyes and call a volunteer. And you are my lucky lotto winner.
All right.
And all I would like for you to do is just kind of tell a brief description of what you see here on my desk.
Looks like an iPad,
Yep.
keyboard, computer screen, laptop.
And I think my dog may be gone. No dog over there, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so very much. And you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. Okay, that was what you get with a volunteer. And when they call, it is using the back camera, so they're not seeing yourself, and you are aiming and pointing it at whatever you need them to help you out with. Sometimes I use them for even the dialogue boxes that may appear on my computer screen to say, for some reason, I can't read the dialogue box, and they'll say, hey, you have an open Windows window, blah, 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 what have you, and click and you can go from there. But there are more specialized help in which we'll get to a little bit later in the demonstration. So it's just as simple as that. Most of the time you can get, because I think when I went on the website, they have over, I want to say over 3 million volunteers across the globe. So the wait time has been significantly reduced if you used it several years ago, and sometimes it would take a long time. Definitely utilize that resource. And then at the end of it, they always ask they want to do a brief summary. Were they able to help you? And if not, tell me what was the issue, so at least they can record it and try to address it. So I'm going to click good call.
Community settings, select specialized help.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the specialized help. Okay.
Selected, get support, tab, selected, call a volunteer, specialized help.
And then the next section is my favorite, which is specialized help.
Tab bar, specialized help.
And John, you got to just click that open.
Search field.
And what that does, then it opens up to a huge menu of various headings or categories of specialized help. And the first part is you get a chance to put your favorites in there if you want to, if you haven't set up Siri Shortcuts and just want to go straight to, the particular group that you use on a daily basis. So I have some favorites. I have Google,
LinkedIn,
I have LinkedIn,
Microsoft,
I have Microsoft,
assistive technology.
and then those are my three because I use them a lot for my tech support. So the first category is called assistive technology. And let's just open it up.
Search field.
Okay.
Double adaptation store. Lighthouse for the blind and visually impaired.
So under assistive technology, it'll have the listing of the various companies or organizations or services that would be under there.
Search.
But more importantly,
info.
They have the tab that says, so assistive technology, what does that mean? So click on info.
Back button. Specialized help. Expert support through Be My Eyes. Specialized help allows you to connect directly to companies' customer support representatives the same way you would connect to volunteers over Lit Be My Eyes video. Request a company. Tab bar. Selected. Get support.
So it even says, even if there's someone that you want to recommend a particular company and organization, shoot them an email and make a recommendation and they'll reach out and contact them. So under assistive technology, we had adaptive.
Assistive technology info. Search. Adaptation store.
Adaptation.
Blind and visually impaired. Closed.
And they even tell you the hours. So it says right now on Saturday, it's closed.
I See Music Help Desk. Closed.
And there's another one called I See Music Help Desk. Thought that one was interesting. So let me click on that.
I See Music Help Desk. Accessibility help for audio tech and music production related issues. Closed.
Unfortunately, they're closed. Now then you say to yourself, okay, well, when are they open?
Assistive tech info.
Then you can find out the hours.
Adaptation store. I See Music Help Desk.
So let's go back to
I
them.
See Music Help Desk. Accessibility help for audio tech and music production. Closed. Info. Opening hours. Saturday. Closed. Sunday. Closed. Monday. Closed.
This one I found every day has been closed and I don't know what's going on, but the good part is under
opening hour. Saturday.
You can't even reach out and contact them on a web page. So all of them will give you contact information. So if you find that they're consistently closed, and again, during our current pandemic situation, we know so many employers and organizations are short of staff. So I would not be surprised if that may be one of the reasons. So that's assistive tech
search
and adaptation.
Adaptation store.
Let's see,
adaptation store. Lighthouse for the blind and visually impaired. Our adaptation store staff is here to help you find the perfect solution for high and low tech tools, canes and more.
So that gives you an idea. So again, all you click and it says call, and if they're open, it'll do the same way that the volunteer did. So, okay, so let's go. So we're going to go off assisted technology.
Beauty grooming.
Then there's beauty and grooming, and underneath beauty and grooming.
Herbal essences.
And these are primarily a lot of personal products for, from hair care. Oil of Olay, or when it say Olay, I was going, what is that? OLA. So it's like the oil of Olay products.
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Pantene.
Pantene.
Closed. Secret. Closed. SK2. Closed. Tat Bar.
So those about 5 or 6 of them, all of those. So
Info. Beauty. Back button. Back button.
let's see, how are we doing on time? Hold on. Okay, all right. So personal grooming.
Blindness organizations.
Then there's blindness organizations.
Search.
Huge group of blind organizations.
American Council of the Blind. Carroll Center for the Blind. Cincinnati Association for the Blind Visually Impaired. CAPI. Closed. Guide Dogs for the Blind. Hadley. Closed. Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired, San Francisco. Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Vista Center for the Blind Visually Impaired. Closed. Tat Bar.
So Vista's the last one.
Search. Info. Blindness. Back button.
Okay.
Back button.
So, and all of those usually are open. I find them during the week, and they may have sporadic hours. They may not have an 8 to 5. It could be 9 to 2, 1, that sort of thing. So,
Careers.
This is the
Careers.
other section that is fairly new within the last year, and it's called careers.
Search field.
So
Inclusively. Search. Info. Button.
let's look at what they're going to talk
Back
about
button.
on careers.
Specialized help. Expert support through Be My Eyes. Specialized help allows you to connect, request a company, Tat Bar, community, specialized expert support through Be My Eyes. Specialized back button.
Oh, let me go back to this. The first one
Search.
is inclusive.
Inclusively. Close. Inclusively.
Let's see what inclusively is about.
Connecting job seekers with disabilities, mental health conditions, chronic illnesses to inclusive employers. Closed. Info. Button. Info. Back info. Heading. Inclusively is the professional network transforming the way candidates with disabilities, mental health conditions, and chronic illnesses connect to jobs and inclusive employers. Our accessible employment platform and job matching technology goes beyond traditional job search criteria and allows job seekers to connect with opportunities that match their experience, skills, and needed workplace accommodations, what we call success enablers. Some examples include screen readers, noise canceling headphones, an emotional support animal, accessible parking and entrances, Braille signage, and dozens more. To register and create your free profile, visit www.inclusively.com. Link. www.inclusively.com. Link.
Okay.
Selected. Get support.
All right. So that's one group, and then there's one other group under careers besides exclusively.
Info. Opening hour. Supported opening info.
Oh, and they
Opening
also
hours.
tell you supported languages.
Supported languages. Include back button. Back button. Search. Inclusively. Jobs for humanity. Closed. Jobs for humanity. Jobs for people who are blind or have low vision. Closed. Add to Siri. Info. Button. Info. Back button. Info. Who we are. We are a volunteer-led movement of job creation for underrepresented communities in the workplace, the blind, the neurodivergent, refugees, Black leaders, single mothers, and the formerly incarcerated.
So this just gives you an example of those two groups that are in careers.
Add to Siri. Jobs for job back button.
And when you hear add to Siri, that means it's already got a built-in shortcut for you.
Community. Text.
Okay, let's go back
Back button.
from careers.
Civic engagement.
Then there's
Button.
civic engagement.
Search. Search field, vote.org.
And the only one in
Close.
civic engagement is vote.org. So if you're wondering how to register to vote, if you're registered, they can provide links
Search.
within one's
Info.
local, district or state in
Civic
which
back
that
button.
person can
Back
obviously
Back button.
ensure that they get
Civic
properly
engagement.
registered to
Button.
vote
Food
or
beverage.
aware of what
Button.
new upcoming elections. Then there's a new section called food and beverage. I thought that was interesting. So let's see.
Search.
That one
Search
was,
field. Gorilla.
and the
Vote. Chat bar.
and the only one in there currently
Close.
is Barilla, Barrill. I think is it but it's the pasta company. And I said, that's interesting. I should have called last week when I discovered it, but I would assume that the various types of pasta, how long to cook it, that sort of thing, they have individuals that are available for you to
Search.
call during that time
Beverage. Heading.
to find for food and beverage. But currently that's the only one that they have for
Food
food and beverage, but
Heading.
more to come.
Info. Search. Search
And
field.
let's see.
Back button.
Let's go after
Back
food
button.
and beverage.
Civic engagement. Food beverage. Home cleaning. Button.
Home cleaning
Search.
services.
Search field.
And these are all the home care
Double tap to
products,
edit.
how to use them on, let's say, can I, wash a particular, product in a certain detergent? Maybe I have a wool sweater and I want to, use
Bounty.
a
Close.
particular product to clean it, and they will let you know if that's appropriate and that sort of thing. So here's some of
Search.
the
Search field.
companies. So Bounty,
Cascade.
Cascade,
Closed. Dawn.
Da-
Closed. Button.
Dawn,
Downy.
Downy,
Closed. Gain.
fabric softener,
Closed.
Gain, the
Button.
detergent,
Mr. Clean. Tide. Closed.
Mr.
Button.
Clean and Tide.
Chat bar.
I do notice a lot of these are Procter and Gamble's
Back up,
product,
back
which I do know that they're a strong supporter
Bounty.
of
Search.
the visually
Info.
impaired
Home
community.
back button.
But
Back button.
that gives you an
Back
idea
button.
of consumer
Home
type
cleaning.
products, so home
Button.
cleaning
Personal
services.
health.
And then
Button.
personal health, this is where I landed on
Search.
my gold
Search
mine.
field.
All right, personal
Double
health.
tap. Accessible pharmacy
And that's
services
where
for the blind.
you will
Closed.
find accessible pharmacies. And again, as Andy stated, this is a great resource to reach them Monday through Friday. I believe, even though they are open on Saturdays, I believe, Andy, if I'm misspeaking, I think the rep told me that, but you would have to go online and contact them either through the 215 number or whatever
Absolutely.
contact number.
We have a few people
website.
overseeing the accessible the Be My Eyes app. That being said, if someone needs to interact with us after hours or on weekends using Be My Eyes, you just simply have to schedule an appointment and someone will make themselves available.
Right. So don't just think, oh, they're totally closed now. That means the pharmacy shut down. I mean, you still can go on the website and access and try to reach out. So
Clear Blue.
so Accessible Pharmacies is there. Clear Blue, that is a pregnancy and fertility testing service. So for females that obviously can't read or determine that, this is what they have, their own group of specialists that would be available to do that.
Crest.
And then there's
Closed.
the Crest toothpaste,
Oral B.
Oral B,
Closed.
the
Button.
toothbrush, tooth care products,
Rite Aid.
and
Closed.
Rite Aid.
Button.
As Andy shared with you, I believe Rite Aid is the other retail organization that is now on. So Rite Aid pharmacies are across, the country in many
Oral
locations. So,
B. Right.
and
Chat
that's the
bar.
only one. So that
Next.
gets you
Search.
personal care,
It's first back button.
personal
Back
health
button.
and care.
Personal technical.
Ah, my favorite, technical.
Search. Search field.
All right, we've got
Be
technical.
My Eyes.
And
Closed.
you can
Button.
contact Be My Eyes directly if you're having some problems with the app or some questions. So they actually would have representatives of the organization there for you.
Google.
Google, I always was having challenges when I was trying to use various Google Workplace products and things, Google Docs and things, and trying to find a contact number. But this allows you to reach out. All you do is with the tap, just like I did with the volunteer, there would be someone from Google if you are calling during their hours, and they can help you.
LinkedIn.
And then they
Open.
have
Button.
LinkedIn. It says LinkedIn is currently open.
Google.
In the instance, it
Button.
says it's closed. So you do know, at least when you're reaching out, if they're going to be available. The other cool part is when they do show the hours. The hours are representative of your time zone. I contacted them about a year and a half ago saying, is it 9 o'clock Central, Eastern, Pacific? And so Be My Eyes responded that anytime, because your phone and everything is in your time zone, whatever's displayed, that would be the representative hours that the facility would be open. So you're not curious if that's, Eastern or different time zone outside of wherever you currently reside. So LinkedIn is a great resource. And open. They just added LinkedIn in the last maybe 8-9 months, I think.
Microsoft.
And Microsoft is open. I can tell you LinkedIn and Microsoft are 24/7. And they're joined together because Microsoft purchased LinkedIn about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So
Spotify.
And this is one that was new to me. I didn't realize Spotify is on there. So that's pretty cool. So if you have the app and you're having questions or navigation issues or what have you, reach out to your Spotify technical contact. Verizon has representation. They talk about all of their accessible products.
Chat bar.
And Verizon, that would be the last one on under technical support. So we've gone through all of the specialized help portions. And I mean, look at my watch. Is it about a quarter after? If Mark comes in anytime soon, then I can definitely stop because I've got a little bit more time.
Selected.
I've been looking out for him, Sarah, and I've not seen him.
What I told him, his son had a basketball game, and he said between 12:15 to 12:30. So just in case, hopefully we've got a little bit of my time. Okay, so let's talk about the settings portion. Okay, once you get in, the amazing thing about this app is, for those of you who have family members, friends, relatives that speak other languages, when I clicked on the language section, it had every alphabet starting from A. I lost count, and I know I counted at least 25 languages. So that is pretty cool as far as having a volunteer that speaks that language. Now, bear in mind, the more specialized you get, probably the fewer the volunteer pool will be, but the mere fact that they have registered someone who states that they are fluent in that particular language. So it's not just restrictive to English, Spanish, or some of the more, predominant languages spoken. And Be My Eyes is all over the globe. It's not just restricted to US. So if you travel to Europe, you can still use your Be My Eyes app in Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, all over, because again, it's limitless as far as its outreach. If they've got, Wi-Fi connection, internet connection, then you can reach them. So as I
Mark
stated,
has just joined us.
Oh, okay, great. So, well, I tell you what, before I go into a lot of the details, I'll just allow Mark to get through his presentation, and then if there's Q&As, and then whatever remaining time I can talk about, because the only other 2 sections is just some of the basics on settings, and then I did want to cover a portion on the community where there's a really cool volunteer story. So if Mark is all set up and unmuted, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing just fantastic. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Well, great. Well, it was perfect timing. Did your son win the game?
1-1, so not a bad day.
Not a bad day, but
no,
then again,
I'll take it.
That's not bad. But again, I'm not gonna rub it in because I am in Houston, right? So I guess more news to come tomorrow evening when we get to Chi-Town, right?
Okay, I don't. Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm actually not a White Sox fan. I'm more of a Cubs fan. So,
see, I forget. In Chicago,
we got 2 teams.
There's 2 teams, and they are serious. The line is drawn. There is no in between.
Drawn.
Absolutely. Okay.
True.
Well, great. Well, listen, thank you again for taking out your time to come and speak with us. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up. Everybody will be muted and allow you ample time to get through your presentation. And I believe, Terrence or Stacy, did you make Mark, are you cited or not?
I am
Mark,
cited, yes.
Mark
Okay,
is a
Mark is cited.
co-host.
And
Yes.
so you are a co-host, and if once you finish, we'll allow individuals to raise hands for questions. If you want, if you see the first hand, you can just say, hey, you know, Mary, you know, what's your question?
Okay.
And then we can kind of lower the, you know, help with lowering the hand so it doesn't cause a delay. And depending upon the time frame, we've asked people to be very, you know, brief and concise with their questions so that they can, you know, cover whatever questions that they may need to address. But from this perspective, you know, as I told you, you've got plenty of time to cover the topic. So if you want to begin, Mark is, this is Mark Arneson, and he is Director of Community for Hadley School. So welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. So all of that is true. My name is Mark, and I do work at Hadley. And I'm actually relatively new to Hadley, about 4 years, but we've been going through all kinds of different changes. For those of you that may have known Hadley in the past, we, you know, we've been known as a school, we've been known as an institute, and we've had kind of academic courses that have been available to folks to learn in a wide variety of ways. You know, whether it be like a marketing plan or a business plan, or you know, psychology, or even things like container gardening or bird songs and things like that, just a wide range. What we found though is that many of the students at Hadley had kind of, you know, they've shown different interests, and they've kind of given us a little bit of a different direction. We've started something we call our advisory panel, and right now it's about maybe 4,000 former and current Hadley students that are kind of out there across the country, and they're really helped guiding us what we're doing here. And through their kind of requests, we've changed a lot of what we're doing here. And what we're offering now is more what we're calling workshops. But the idea was very targeted, very specific help in very specific areas. And through the use of like, you know, a video or audio format, we're really trying to help folks learn kind of in the moment, like on-time learning on challenges that they may be facing with vision loss. So it's very practical. It's in the moment, it's on-time learning, and it's available like whenever you need it, and for however often and however long you need it as well. So we launched a website in July of last year, in 2020, which was kind of interesting during a pandemic, kind of doing something like that. But it turned out to be pretty good for us. And we've kind of populated this site with all kinds of different opportunities to find help in specific areas that may become challenging due to vision loss. Like, for example, we have a topic area called daily living. And within this topic area, we've tried to offer, you know, practical kind of in the moment help for challenges that come day to day with vision loss. Like we have a cooking series, and within that cooking series, we've got these different workshops on things like how to pour hot liquids, or how to use your stovetop and oven, or how to tell when food is fully cooked, or using knives safely. Things like that. So they're 5 to 10 minute kind of segments on very targeted specific areas. Like we've got a labeling series, and within this labeling series, we're talking about using audio labels or tactile labels, labels for touch, or how to label your medication, or things like that. We got a safety basics series where we're talking about things like, you know, creating an emergency contact list, or having an emergency kit available, and things you want to make sure you include in that. We've got a clothing series for like doing your laundry, or getting out stains, or organizing your closet. And it just goes on and on. Whatever we could possibly think of where we could offer a little tip, a little trick, you know, some maybe help that you might not have thought of that could possibly make a big difference. Cleaning your house, organizing your house, makeup series, men's personal care, women's personal care, home repair, dining out, you know, walking up the stairs, navigating unfamiliar places. So this is one area that we started really kind of populating a lot of workshops, and really primarily because out of a request from our learners, our students here at Hadley. Technology was another area that people were really asking us to focus on. And so we've been working with Apple, we've been working with Microsoft, we've been working with Google, you know, for Android products, Microsoft for Windows products and Office products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Apple for, you know, workshops on like the iPhone, the Apple TV, the Apple Watch, the iPad, just really helping people understand what accessibility features are really built into all these products, And then a little quick, again, 5 to 10 minute walkthrough on how to access that feature and how to use that feature. And so, again, we started with like the iPhone, and we started walking people through how to use things like their magnifier, or how do you adjust the text size, how do you turn on dark mode, how do you use a speak screen feature, using Zoom gestures, using voiceover, all these features that Apple works really hard to build into their products. Google, the Android products like the phones and the tablets, how to use TalkBack, how to do triple taps, double taps, things like that on these phones and these tablets. And so what we wanted to do is take technology that's already out there that may be, readily available, and put it that you can get into your hands, and then teach people how do you really walk through these features that are built into them, how to get to them, how to use them, and then what they actually do. And so we've got all these different workshops that we put out there as well. And in addition to like our daily living and our technology kind of topic areas, we've also started developing workshops in several other areas. We've got a adjusting to vision loss topic area where we just actually started, I think in the last probably 4 months, we just started putting some workshops in that topic area. Honestly, we had some trouble kind of developing content that was really resonating with people in this topic area. But we think we've got something that's really helpful and useful for many folks. And we did some testing with it, and people really kind of connected with it and felt like it was really helpful. So we're excited about this topic area. We're starting to build that out, just adjusting to vision loss. We've also got a recreation topic area. It's just fun things to do, games, and I think we have our bird song one up there as well. We've got a working area, which is kind of more employment skills. It's like things, skills that are useful for getting employed and staying employed, or even if you're thinking the idea of starting your own business, we've got some workshops for ideas to kind of think about when doing that as well. And then Braille. Braille is something we've been doing at Hadley for the 100 years we've been around. It all started with Braille back in 1920 here at Hadley. We've been doing it for 100 years since. And we've actually, we're excited because on our site, when we launched it in July of 2020, we actually launched it with a new Braille series that we're calling Braille for the Sighted Learner. What we found when we did some research with those folks who were learning from Hadley was that many people who were coming to us to learn Braille had some usable vision. We had many folks who were low vision, but then also a lot of sighted professionals that were coming to us and wanting to learn Braille for people that they were working with and people that just refresh their Braille skill, things like that. And so we developed this series where directly from our site, if you have enough vision or able to kind of navigate it, you can learn all of your letters, your punctuation, your currency, your numbers directly from our site, how to read and write contracted Braille. And so we're excited about it. We're getting a lot of great feedback from our Braille for the Sighted Learner series that we have available directly from our site as well. And then we continue to teach Braille for those who want to learn by touch the way we always have in our 100-year history. You give us a call, you reach out to us, we get information and material sent to you, and then we have somebody here at Hadley that's kind of assigned to you to kind of walk you through and be your guide as you kind of learn Braille by touch through Hadley. So it's all correspondence and all from a distance. And so we still have that available, and we're actually we're super excited. We just recently received a pretty significant grant to work on improving the way that we're teaching Braille here at Hadley for those that want to learn by touch. And so for the last year and a half, our whole Braille team's really been invested in and tried to work on and improve our Braille series, which should be available probably December or January of this year. So our website, hadley.edu, did a ton of testing with this site before we got it out to the world. And there's all kinds of different features that we feel like are really specific to those, with visual impairments. We tested it with those who are hopefully going to be using the site. And so there's things like walking through how to change the contrast on the site, how to change the font size if you want. It's a really guided kind of approach to do those kinds of things. And the hope was that it'll kind of take you to what you're looking to learn as quickly and easily as possible. And so there's a sign up process, which we do ask people to sign up on the site. If they're using Hadley, we're hopeful that you'll sign up. And what sign up does is it does keep you logged in all the time. So it saves a lot of the settings that you kind of contrast, font size, things like that. It keeps records of workshops that you've done, so you can get back to those pretty easily if you stepped away from one. in the middle of it, you can kind of pick up right where you left off. And so there's really some different kind of features that are nice when you're logged in and signed up. But what signing up also does for us is that if we can show, a certain number of people who are using the site are visually impaired themselves, it opens up a lot of funding sources for us, which really allows us to keep everything free here at Hadley. So there's no cost associated with anything we do here at Hadley. It's everything is free, whether you're visually impaired yourself, a friend or family member or professional. But part of the way we're able to do that is through different funding sources that become available by showing who's actually using the content that we offer. So there's a sign up process, but once you're signed up, you get full access to everything that we offer. I mentioned our workshops. We got about 450 workshops that are now available on the site. We're doing things like discussion groups. And essentially these are our Zoom calls that you can call in once a month and join others on a topic that you might find interesting. We've got a technology one called Tech It Out. We sometimes get a couple hundred people on our Tech It Out call each month. It's kind of crazy, but it's really popular. We've got a reading or a book club. We call it the Book Nook. We got a discussion group on cooking. It's called What's Cooking. We got a crafting circle for those creative types out there. We've got a writer circle, people sharing poetry, short stories, things like that. We've got a resource roundtable where we just highlight a resource out in the community and share about what they're doing. We've got a Get Up and Go one that's all about exercise and staying fit. We've got a gardening group called Hadley Growers. Travel Talk, which is kind of people sharing vacations they've been on and places they want to go and things like that, but also, challenges with public transportation, navigating airports, things like that. And then a Braille group that meets once a month as well. These are typically folks who are kind of in the middle of Braille or thinking about taking Braille and trying to get the, what that's like and hear from other folks who have kind of done it before. So our discussion groups are available once a month. And again, there's Zoom calls that you can just call in on your phone or join online similar to what we're doing here today. We've also started something called Hadley Presents, and it's a podcast that we're offering. So anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find it. But it's the idea was to get the voice of folks who are just doing kind of interesting things in the vision field out to the world. And so we're interviewing people like doctors who are doing treatment with macular. We had a retina specialist who's talking about things in their practice here in Chicago that they're doing with macular degeneration. And we had a glaucoma specialist who practiced down in Florida, and they're talking about different research that they're doing that's exciting and new with glaucoma. And then just other interesting people. Like we had a Chad Neesmith. He was an interesting guy. He's a blind world champion golfer. And he was just sharing his story of being sighted and as a young athlete and losing his vision later in life and transition from continuing to be an athlete and learning golf and then becoming eventually a world champion. And so so it's just the idea was to get the voice of people who are kind of doing interesting things out to the world through a podcast. Like I said, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I use my Alexa to say, play the podcast Hadley Presents, and she starts the first one and keeps going until I tell her to stop. So what else? So we also, we are available online, hadley.edu, but we know not everybody's online as well. It's not super easy for everybody. And so we are available to everybody offline. We have almost every one of our workshops available to mail to you if you prefer to receive something in the mail. We call it our learning library. And we'll send your first order along with a binder that says Hadley Learning Library, and it's got different tabs in it for the different topic areas that we have available. And we'll try to keep you organized from the start, but it's kind of you after that. But we can send almost any one of our workshops in Braille, in large print, or in audio. And the audio that we send out is, we can put it on a flash drive for you, like a thumb drive that you can use, or you can get it on the cartridge that works with the digital talking book player that is a free service from the National Library. So if you have one of those digital talking book players, we can just send you the cartridge that works with those with the audio for our workshops. If you don't have a player, we can actually order one for you. We fill out the paperwork and send it into your state library on your behalf. But we have almost every one of our workshops. We have 450 workshops that we can send out large print, Braille, or audio. And again, those are free of charge. They're yours to keep. The whole idea of everything that we're doing here at Hadley is to be able to go back to it however many times you need, whenever you need to. And so anything that we send to you is absolutely free of charge. So on our site, if you are able to navigate the site, it's screen reader friendly. We've tested it with a variety of different screen readers on a variety of different browsers. And so we haven't found anybody that's had some challenges with it yet, but even on our site, everything that we have available, all of our workshops, all of our podcasts are available to listen to directly from there. You can download our podcasts if you want. You can listen to them directly on the site. All of our workshops are transcribed. And so if you prefer transcripts, you can have it read from the site. You can download those. You can print those off. The workshops all come with also resource options. And so if we talk about something within the workshop that might be helpful, like, I don't know, in our cooking series, if we mention a cutting board that we like, then in the resource tab, we'll have a link to that where you can access it, find out how much it is, more information about it, where to buy it, things like that. So they're all these resource tabs for every workshop. And then also all of our staff are available for you to talk to as well. So you have access to almost every one of our Hadley staff directly through our site. There's on every workshop page, there's a phone number and an email address. And if you call that number or that email address, or if you send an email, one of the 4 or 5 people that actually created that workshop will be available to answer any questions that you have or respond to any comments that you want to make or anything like that. So you have full access to all of our Hadley staff and we call them our learning experts, the folks who actually develop the content that we're offering to everybody out there. In addition to that, I know that Be My Eyes is here today, and we actually been working with them to be available for any folks that are on Be My Eyes to access our what we call it our help desk. And so if you're on that, if you're using that app, if you're using Be My Eyes, we're one of the resources that's available through Be My Eyes, and you can reach out and be one of our help desk folks will be available to try and help and answer any questions that you have. And then lastly, there's a little help button that follows on every page of the site. If you get stuck in any way, you have any questions, not sure what to do, you select this help button. It'll offer our 800 number. But we're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for anybody that wants to give us a call. But also there's a fully functional chat feature directly on the site. It's a fully accessible chat feature. And so if you just have a quick question you want to toss out there, we're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Via chat to answer any kind of questions you have as well. Okay, I think I covered mostly what I wanted to. I wasn't sure how much time I had, but I'm happy to try and answer any questions that anybody has. Anybody has any?
This is Stacy.
Hey. Yeah, Stacy.
Well, just real quick, I just wanted to let people know when you ask questions, if you can keep them brief in the interest of our time.
Okay. I saw Glenda had a hand raised, and so should I just call? I think I'm calling on people who have their hand raised. Glenda, did you want to unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I actually have y'all done anything? Let me shut my, there we go. Have y'all done anything with like Braille displays and kind of a training on the basic Braille, like the blue, just the ones that are the most common in terms of how to, how to use?
Sorry, Glenda, I think I lost audio there for a second. Do you mind repeating your question?
Okay. Have y'all done anything? It's a combination Braille and technology. Have you done anything with Braille displays in terms of people working through how to use a Braille display, just the basic functions like the ones from Freedom Scientific or HIMSS or some of those? Have you done anything with that?
I don't, that's a good question. I don't think we have a workshop out there on how to use Braille. I can look at that. Gosh, we're adding new workshops like every day, it feels like. And so each week, there's new content that's being offered. And so I don't remember a specific workshop on how to use Braille displays. Our Braille team has actually been working so hard. First, they wanted to get this Braille for the sighted learner out and have that available as soon as possible. But then since then, they've been working really hard on our Braille for the tactile learner, for those who want to learn by touch. And so I don't know that they've developed a workshop for Braille displays, but that's a great suggestion. We on every workshop page on our site, we have a little button at the bottom that says, do you have a suggestion? And so a lot of the workshops that we're developing right now are really based on people giving us feedback and suggestions they have. So I can take that back. Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
We also need to talk about what are the qualifications for people to, what is the process, the application process for people who want to take courses? Because you didn't address that at all. And I think people need to be aware.
Yeah, so it's, that was one of the things that we heard when we were kind of looking at what we're doing here at Hadley was we got a ton of feedback about how difficult it was to enroll in our courses. Like one of our courses had a 13-step process you had to complete before you could even get started. And folks were asking us, hey, can I just start when I want? And can it be easier? And so we've taken away that whole enrollment process. All you have to do, if you want one of our workshops through the mail, just give us a call. We'll get your name, address, and that's about it. And we'll send you whichever one you feel might be helpful. In addition, on our site, it's just a sign-up process, and we've tried to keep it real simple.
Okay.
You get to a sign-up page, and you can use, if you have a Facebook, Gmail, or Yahoo account, you can select one of those buttons. It'll link it to that account and use that username and password to log you in. Otherwise, you can just use any email address and any password you want. And then we ask you three questions. We ask you your first and last name. We ask, how'd you hear about Hadley? And we ask, what's your relation to vision loss? So you personally, are you professional? Are you a friend or family member? And that's it. Once you answer those questions, you're logged in and have full access to everything that we offer.
So a person doesn't have to be blind necessarily to take your courses.
No, by no means.
UEB,
Yeah.
Are you teaching UEB in your Braille courses?
We're in the middle of a transition right now, and so we have a lot of students that are learning UEB, and so we're on hold for new enrollments right now. But that's only until we get our new content launched, probably in December or January. And so,
because I'm an old Braille user from years and years ago, and it's a transition for me. And that's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And then we had. Oh, sorry.
I think we have Christy's hand next.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Hi, my name is Christy Braille. I was just wondering, do all your courses do A to Z? Because I remember maybe a couple years ago back in 2019, going back, they used to be all alphabetical. So, and you would have to enroll and pay a fee. Is it still like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the fee. We've always tried to provide content free of charge, unless you are a professional and receiving continuing education credits for the learning, then there might be some cost associated, but everything that we've done at Hadley has been free of charge. And again, there's no really enrollment process any longer. We've tried to really strip that away to allow those who want to learn whenever they want to learn and get started whenever they want to get started. And so the workshops that we offer now are really more in topic areas than they are kind of alphabetical listings. And so, like we have this daily living topic area. We've got a technology, recreation, adjusting to vision loss, working, and Braille are our 6 topic areas that you can learn from. And then within those topic areas, we offer all the series of workshops that we have available. If you select one of those series that look interesting, you'll be brought to all the workshops that are available in that series. And so that's really how we're kind of organizing it at this point, is just through topic areas, workshop series, and then down to particular specific workshops. Now, if you have no idea, you want to try and find some help with something, just give us a call. Our help desk is available to just kind of talk to you a little bit about what some of the challenges are that you're facing, and then try to find a workshop that we might have available that you think might be helpful, and we'll just send it off to you. So you don't have to know why you're calling or what we have available. You can just give us a call and we'll figure something out. and get it in the mail to you. So that's we're trying to make it as easy as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And before we take the next question, Mark, do you want to give I know you said Hadley EDU is the website, and that I will be doing a follow-up, but do you want to give the number so we can put it in the chat for people that might not be getting that?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. It's 800, so it's an 800 number, and it's 1-800 323 4238. I'll repeat it just in case you need. It's 800 323 4238, and we're Central Time, so it's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're available to do what we can to help. So I think I see a hand that Edwin had a question. Can I see you, Edwin, if you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Edwin.
Hey. Could you elaborate more on the games and recreation area?
Yeah. So it's, what we part of what we did, and again, a lot of what we're doing goes back to what our advisors have really been guiding us to do and asking us to do. And so a lot of the topic areas that they were asking about, daily living and technology, were the big ones that they kept asking us about. That came up over and over again. So a lot of our focus early on has been trying to develop workshops in that area. So that's where you're going to find most of our content. But in our recreation, we've got like a container gardening series. And so, we've got things like basic container gardening or finding locations and things like that. We've got a game series. The game series is, it's like, playing and adapting to games, checkers and chess, card games, trivia games. So, backyard games, jigsaw puzzle, like trivia. I mean, there's just different workshops on different games that are available and what they are and how to use them. And then we've got a bird songs series, which that's actually a really popular one. It's, finding more birds, friendly spaces, identifying bird songs and things like that. What else do we have? I'm not even sure. Let's see, we've got like I think a sports, I think we got like a sports and exercise series that's in there. So we've got a few pieces of content within our recreation area right now, but it's an area we're going to continue to build out. Our main focus was technology and daily living as we got things kind of kicked off, but we're really starting to populate some of these other areas like adjusting to visual loss and recreation. But yeah, we've got a few things in there right now.
I was going to ask you that
helps.
If there's any virtual games.
I don't think that there is virtual games right now. That's a great point. That's again another suggestion that I can bring back, but I don't think that there is a virtual game series at this point. No.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any more hands?
I don't see any.
Okay. Well, great. Well, again, thank you so much, Mark, for taking out time this afternoon to speak to our group. And as we shared earlier, we will be putting all of the various ways to contact Hadley on our follow-up email that'll go out with the link for the recording. And we too have a YouTube channel that will post this recording. So hopefully that will increase some interest in Hadley. And again, please reach out to them either with their 800 number or through Be My Eyes as well. So wonderful, wonderful resource. And again, thanks so much for coming this afternoon.
My pleasure. Go Sox. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. We won't take that personally, but that's okay.
You can edit that part out. All right, Sarah. Thanks so much.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, great. Well, we have a few more minutes and we still, please, for those who don't want to stay on, we will have a door prize. So we will have a drawing about a few minutes just before we end. But I wanted to double check, did Dr. Modi come in during either of the presentations or when I was speaking? If not, I'm going to go on and proceed. No?
No, I don't think she did.
Okay, great. Well, what I want to do before we run out of time to talk about the volunteer portion, the difference, and some people may ask, remember, Be My Eyes is free, but I want to stress, when you have a volunteer, they recommend that you do not provide access to very personal, private, sensitive, confidential information, because again, this is just an average person. This could be your neighbor, a family member, you know, someone that you're, you know, obviously giving access. Unlike some of the paid services such as IRA, where, you know, they've gone through, the service people have gone through, you know, a rigorous vetting process and things of that nature. So just want to make sure that there is some differences, but for most things that's not, you know, of a data privacy or sensitivity perspective, definitely utilize those volunteers. So I'm not sure what the vetting process is as far as signing up. And we were hoping, and we do have a couple of people on our board that are volunteers, but due to prior conflicts couldn't be here. But I wanted to share, there is, as I told you, there were 3 tabs. One is getting the support, another one is entitled community, and the last one is settings. Well, I want to go to the community.
Tab bar, get support, selected, community.
Because
Tab,
community
2 of
is
3.
where they share compelling stories that have been submitted from all over the world from volunteers with their experiences. And you can even set it up in your alert section under settings to be informed of a push notification that they have a new audio compelling story to listen to. And I find them always fascinating and inspiring. But this one I thought is very short. It's about 3 minutes.
Researcher,
And
PhD
they
student,
keep a history. So even if you miss it, you can always go here and find it. So the most recent one is called a researcher.
Tell us your story. Researcher, PhD
But I want to
student
go.
and Be My Eyes user. Milosh, a Be My Eyes volunteer is going to the Oscars.
That caught my eye. A volunteer, Be My Eyes, is going to the Oscars. So that's the one I want us to listen to.
A Be My Eyes volunteer is going to the Oscars. Doug, audio player play, button, play, pause, play. Community story, Be My Eyes.
Hi, I'm Doug. I'm a social impact filmmaker in Los Angeles. And actually, a lot of the work that I do as a filmmaker around accessibility is what led me to Be My Eyes. And I've been a member of Be My Eyes now, a volunteer for, I want to say like 7-8 months maybe. And the most memorable call I had was actually this past Thanksgiving. I was assisting a woman who was making her plate for her Thanksgiving meal. There was this table of all these different dishes, and she wanted to make sure she got all of her favorite things from the table. So we were talking our way through that. But as we were talking about that, we started just talking about Thanksgiving and how it was such a unique Thanksgiving happening during COVID. And we were talking about the past year. You know, we were talking about a lot of the family members that both of us, you know, couldn't have at this Thanksgiving because of we were separated by a distance, and how much we missed our family members. And it was just so great to be able to, you know, end up connecting with this person on Thanksgiving, and it was really one of the highlights of my Thanksgiving. And she was such a sweet person that I feel like was, you know, such a lift to my day that day, which was because it was actually the first Thanksgiving I ever had away from my parents and my brother. So that was kind of like a nice consolation there. And it actually relates so much to the film that I've been working on for the past few years. It was actually inspired by an encounter I had with the first person who's deafblind that I met 10 years ago on a New York City street corner. And kind of similar in that real life encounter, I initially started helping this man Artemio get to a bus stop that he needed to get home. But we ended up sitting and having a conversation for over an hour with me tracing one letter at a time on his palm to communicate with him, and he would write back in a notepad. And it was such a beautiful and intimate and unique way to communicate that I'd never experienced before. And we left that experience feeling like, you know, I felt like this guy had gone from being like a stranger to a good friend of mine. And it inspired this film that I ended up partnering with Helen Keller Services and the deafblind community to make, and actually cast for the first time ever in film history a deafblind actor in a lead role. And that's been such an amazing experience that's actually led us to the Academy Awards this year. We're a nominee for Best Live Action Short at this year's Oscars. We'll be going I'll be going with Robert Tarango, who's our deafblind actor. He's going to be the second deafblind person ever to attend the Oscars other than Helen Keller herself, which is really exciting. My co-nominee is the CEO of Helen Keller Services, who I've worked with very closely over the last 3 years. And we're just really honored to be able to bring this story and this community, the deafblind community, to so many people who maybe never had a chance to learn about or hear from someone who's deafblind. And if you're interested, you can watch the film for free at feelingthrough.com. We also have an audio descriptive version of the film there. And there's also a free companion documentary that takes you behind the scenes of making the film, of the inspiration behind the film. And you can also find us on social media at Feeling Through if you want to follow along the journey. And again, I'm so happy that this film and all the topics around accessibility led me to Be My Eyes, which is something that's really been such an amazing thing to be a volunteer with, and looking forward to more calls in the future.
Thank you for listening to this community story from Be My Eyes. You can share your story too. Send it to mystory@bemyeyes.com. Be sure.
Great. Well, just in lieu of time, I just thought that was such an inspiring story. And also, when you go to the app and you click on that particular story, it also gives you a text version of it so that you can also get that same information if you didn't want to use the audio player, but also wanted to actually use swipe through, and there is a text version. So I meant to check to see if it won an Academy Award, but most certainly I definitely want to check out that film. So I'm gonna skip the settings portion just in lieu of time. It's somewhat self-explanatory, the traditional, setting it up, putting your password, your preferred language, and then allowing for notifications in various notifications and sending them feedback. There's an FAQ, that sort of thing. So I want to make sure that we've just got a few minutes before I turn it over to Ron so that we can do the drawing for the door prize. But are there any Be My Eyes related type questions? And thanks again to both Mark and to Andy for their sharing of their information, or any other related type Be My Eyes type questions that we did not get a chance to address. We've got about 2 minutes or so. So raise your hands and we will be more than happy to recognize you.
Ned has a question.
Yes, Ned.
This is Ned. I'm a Be My Eyes user. Just want to mention that once a month, Be My Eyes does a community call. The first Wednesday of every month for 1 hour, and Will Butler gives information about the company and the users, and it's very informative. And the other thing is, you can call them at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you will go to another time zone. You're not waking a volunteer up in the middle of the night, but it'll go to another country that speaks the English language, if that's your preferred language.
Oh, great. Yeah. And they do have various avenues that you can stay connected. Obviously, Facebook, YouTube, and I believe Instagram and Twitter also. You can stay in tune to them as well as on the website. So that's good. I didn't realize they had a community call as well. But I was just fascinated with the number of languages that they provided services for, which is definitely awesome.
We have a question in the chat as well. They want to know, what is the name of the movie from the story?
I think it's called Feeling Through .com. Feeling, and then I would imagine THROUGH.com.
All right, calendar invite is up.
But if you go to that tab, I'll go back and when we send out the follow-up email, I'll maybe post the link to the actual movie that he mentioned so that you can hear it. But I mean, and there's so many other stories that are just so moving and compelling with what, a volunteer that came across Be My Eyes in an individual. So definitely worth checking out. Any other questions?
That's weird. I got a text as soon as I hit.
Well, if not, I thank you all
I'm
again
unmuted.
for coming. And I'm going to turn it over to Ron to wrap it up, and we can announce our door prize.
All right. Well, thank you. And I want to say thank you again to Andy and Mark for their part of the program. But I really want to give props to Sara, because Sara put this thing together, and you've done an excellent job here today, Sara. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's been a very good learning experience for me about both what Hadley's been doing as well as Accessible Pharmacy, but also about Be My Eyes. And thank you, Ned, for mentioning Will Butler, because I have been in touch with him. Will is the vice president with Be My Eyes. Will had been invited to be here today, but he had a scheduling conflict and could not make it. I do have a meeting set up with him, and the way he's talking, we may be seeing Haven listed under the Blindness Organizations in the app in the future, because he mentioned using Be My Eyes to help connect with our community. And I'm hoping that's what he's talking about. So another way of putting unity to our community, bringing unity to our community. So bottom line is, you are the reason we are here. And thank you again for everybody being here today. Thank you to all the Haven folks for being here, because there's a lot of work in the background getting things done. And Sara is the representative from iBug, and iBug has donated the door prize for this workshop this week. So Stacy, do we have a name that's been drawn here?
Yes, we do. But before that, I want to get to a very important piece of information and let everybody know that the Texas Longhorns are leading the Oklahoma Sooners 38-20 at halftime. So hook 'em horns, hook 'em horns. As for the other thing that people probably think is more important than football, Misty Malone is our door prize winner for today.
All right.
And Misty is here.
All right.
So if you will,
congrats, Misty.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Misty.
And Misty's hand is raised. And so Misty, Ron will connect with you outside of today's meeting to get your prize to you.
All right. You will get a $25 gift card from Amazon, Misty, and I will get with you. I will email you and contact you on this. So we will get that to you. All right. Thank you. And we are right at 1 p.m. And I want to say again, thank you all for being here today. This has been a very informative program. I hope for all of you as well as it has been for all of us.
Real quick,
So,
Ron.
yes, ma'am.
One thing is for everybody, our next Zoom workshop will be on November the 13th. So be looking for more information about that. I think we're going to do a fun and games kind of thing. So be on the lookout for that soon.
All right. So bring your game face on.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.